The Galactic Alliance had seen many species rise and fall across the stars, but none puzzled them quite like the humans. When Earth joined their ranks in the year 2450, the towering Voran commander, Coulter, expected another loud, boastful race eager to flex their might. Instead, he got Mia, a short, smiling human diplomat with bright eyes and a stack of papers, and Leo, a lanky engineer who always smelled faintly of oil and coffee. The pair stood before the Alliance Council, a grand chamber orbiting a blue dwarf star, and presented Earth's entry report. It was modest. Too modest. A few thousand ships, a couple million soldiers, and weapons that looked like relics from a museum. Coulter's deep voice rumbled through his tusked mouth. This is your military. My scouts could crush it in a day. Mia didn't flinch. She adjusted her glasses and slid a data pad across the table. We're a simple people, Commander. We like peace, coffee, and keeping things organized. Take a look, it's all there. Coulter snatched the pad, his three-fingered hand dwarfing it. The report was a monster, pages of numbers, charts about ship maintenance, even a breakdown of how much coffee Earth's troops drank each year. The Voran's yellow eyes narrowed. Something felt off, but he couldn't place it. The other council members, sleek, floating beings called the Elitheri and chittering scree with their insect-like wings, whispered among themselves. Humans were either fools or hiding something big. Back on Earth, things looked quiet. Too quiet, some might say. The planet's cities hummed with activity, but not the kind the galaxy expected. Massive shipyards churned out cargo haulers, not warships. Farms stretched across continents, growing food, or so the reports claimed. And everywhere, humans filled out forms. Endless forms. Delivery schedules, safety checks, even requests for new pencils. Leo once laughed about it over a steaming mug. If aliens invade, we'll bury them in paperwork first. Mia had smirked, her mind already spinning a dozen plans. She knew the galaxy was watching, and humans had learned long ago that the best way to win was to let others underestimate you. The first crack in the facade came by accident. A Voran scout ship, a sleek little thing with glowing engines, vanished near Earth's orbit. Coulter stormed into the next council meeting, his gray scales bristling. Your space is a black hole, human. My ship sent one signal, then nothing. Mia tilted her head, all innocence. Maybe it got lost. Our traffic lanes are busy, lots of trade ships, you know. She handed him another datapad, this one detailing Earth's civilian flight paths. It was a mess of routes, all perfectly logged, with footnotes about weather delays and fuel stops. Coulter growled, tossing it aside. You expect me to believe this nonsense? Leo stepped in, scratching his messy hair. We could send a search team. Got some freighters nearby, happy to help. The offer sounded genuine, but Coulter's got churned. Freighters didn't just happen to be near military vanishings. Meanwhile, Earth's people went about their lives, blissfully unaware, or so it seemed. Kids played games in schoolyards, dodging balls and plotting strategies like it was second nature. Factories hummed, producing tools and machines that looked ordinary but worked a little too well. And those shipyards? They never stopped. Day and night, hulls took shape, big enough to haul grain, or something heavier. The Alliance sent drones to peek, but all they saw were humans waving cheerfully, offering tours of their trade hubs. The Scree, with their sharp minds and buzzing wings, tried to crunch the numbers. Their output is impossible, one analyst clicked. Too much steel, too many ships, all for, what? Vegetables? The Elitheri floated silently, their glowing forms flickering with doubt. No one could prove anything, yet. Mia and Leo kept the act going. At every meeting, they brought more reports, each one thicker than the last. Transparency is key, Mia would say, her smile warm but her eyes sharp. Leo would nod, sipping coffee from a dented mug. We've got nothing to hide. Want to see our engine specs? They're old, but reliable. Coulter hated it. The humans were too helpful, too open. He'd fought races that bragged about their fleets and lost, but this was new. He ordered his analysts to dig deeper. They came back with nothing but headaches. Earth's military was small, sure, but the paperwork was flawless, almost like a shield. Every question led to more forms, more details, more dead ends. One night, Coulter stood on his ship's bridge, staring at Earth's blue glow in the distance. His crew had found wreckage from the missing scout, not much, just scraps floating in a debris field. The humans had sent a polite note, "Sorry for the mess, must have been an asteroid. We've logged it for cleanup." An asteroid? In a trade lane? His fists clenched. He didn't buy it. But proving it was another matter. The Alliance Council was split, some wanted to trust the humans, others smelled a trap. Mia's voice echoed in his mind, "We're just here to help." Help with what, he wondered. And why did their help feel so dangerous? On Earth, Leo tinkered with a small device in his workshop, a grin tugging at his lips. Mia leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Think they're on to us?" she asked. Leo shrugged, flipping a switch. The device hummed, projecting a map of the galaxy with tiny red dots, ships, stations, secrets. "Not yet. They're too busy counting our coffee beans." Mia chuckled, but her gaze was serious. The game had begun, and humanity's real strength wasn't in their ships or guns. It was in their minds, their ability to plan, adapt, and outthink anyone who dared to look down on them. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. The Galactic Alliance couldn't shake the feeling that Earth was playing a game they didn't understand. Coulter, the Voran commander, paced the council chamber, his heavy boots thudding against the polished floor. The humans, Mia with her calm smile and Leo with his coffee-stained shirt, sat across from him, unfazed by his glare. "Your reports are lies," Coulter growled, slamming a clawed hand on the table. "No species builds shipyards that big for trade alone." Mia raised an eyebrow, sliding yet another datapad his way. "We've got a growing population, Commander. Food, goods, people, everything needs to move. It's all documented here." The pad was thick with charts, cargo routes, harvest yields, even a section on optimal crate stacking techniques. Coulter's scales twitched. He hated how reasonable it sounded. Back on Earth, life rolled on like always, or so it seemed. Tara, a farmer with sun-browned skin and a quick laugh, steered her crop hauler through golden fields. The machine was huge, built to carry tons of grain, but Tara had a secret. Late at night, she'd tinker in her barn, tweaking its engines, adding shields that didn't belong on a farming rig. Just in case, she'd mutter to herself, wiping grease off her hands. She wasn't alone. Across the planet, people quietly modified their tools, tractors with extra plating, drones with odd sensors, nothing flashy, just practical. The Alliance drones buzzing overhead saw nothing suspicious, just humans working hard. But the pieces didn't fit. Coulter demanded an inspection of Earth's main fleet base, a squat facility orbiting one of their moons. Mia and Leo welcomed him with open arms. "We're honored," Mia said, handing him a guest pass and a coffee mug with "Best Visitor" scrawled on it. The base was underwhelming, a handful of ships, all patched up relics, and crews running basic drills. Leo led the tour, pointing out rust spots with a grin. "See? Told you we're not hiding anything fancy." Coulter's eyes darted around, searching for hidden doors or secret hangars. Nothing. Just a ping-pong table in the rec room and stacks of neatly filed forms. "This proves nothing," he snapped. Mia nodded sympathetically. "Want to see our maintenance logs? They're color-coded." The Scree, with their clicking wings and sharp minds, took a different approach. They locked themselves in a lab, poring over Earth's data. Their numbers are too perfect, one analyst buzzed, antennae twitching. Farms producing exactly enough food, ships moving exactly on schedule, it's unnatural. They ran simulations, trying to crack the code. Meanwhile, the Elitheri floated in silence, their glowing bodies pulsing with unease. Something was off, but every question led to more paperwork. A request for Earth's fuel records came back with a 500-page report, complete with a chapter on emergency coffee rationing protocols. The Scree's lead scientist threw up its claws. They're drowning us in details. Then came the pirate attack. A band of rogue ships, hulking, spiked things crewed by outlaws, hit a trade route near Earth's territory. The Alliance fleet was too far to respond, and Coulter watched smugly, expecting the humans to beg for help. Instead, Mia's voice crackled over the comms. "We've got some freighters nearby. They'll handle it." Coulter laughed, a deep, barking sound. Freighters? Against pirates? But minutes later, reports flooded in. Earth's cargo ships swooped into the fray, dodging plasma bolts with eerie precision. One hauler, Terra's, though no one knew her name, unloaded a barrage of mining lasers that sliced through the pirate hulls like butter. The outlaws fled, leaving wreckage and stunned silence. Coulter stormed back to the council, his tusks gleaming with fury. "Those were no freighters," he roared. Mia blinked, all innocence. "They're just multi-purpose. We like being prepared." Leo chimed in, sipping his coffee. "Pirates are bad for business," had to step up. The datapad Mia offered this time detailed the ship's civilian upgrades, reinforced hulls, extra thrusters, nothing military, of course. Coulter's claws dug into the table, but he had no proof. The Scree analysts buzzed louder, their simulations crashing as they tried to explain how trade ships fought like warships. "It's impossible," one clicked. Unless, they didn't finish the thought, but the seed of doubt grew. On Earth, Terra leaned against her hauler, watching the stars. She'd sent the pirates running, and no one asked questions. Her neighbors nodded knowingly, everyone had their little tricks. A fisherman down the coast rigged his boat with sonar too strong for fish. A teacher tweaked her classroom holoprojector to map asteroid fields. It was quiet work, clever work, the kind humans had done for centuries. Mia's words from a late-night chat echoed in Terra's mind, "They think strength is loud. We know it's smart." The farmer grinned, patting her ship. Smart was winning so far. The Alliance couldn't let it go. Coulter ordered more drones, more scans, but Earth's surface stayed stubbornly normal. Cities bustled, factories hummed, schools rang with laughter. The Scree dug into shipping logs, finding oddities, haulers moving empty one way, loaded the next, with no clear source. "Where's it all going?" an analyst hissed. The Elitheri suggested asking directly, but Coulter refused. "They'll just give us more forms," he snarled. He wasn't wrong. Mia's latest report, a 300-page trade safety review, arrived the next day, complete with a pie chart of top crate mishaps. Leo, meanwhile, worked late in his workshop. His latest project was a weather drone, officially, anyway. It hovered above his desk, bristling with sensors no meteorologist needed. "Think they'll buy it?" he asked Mia over a vid call. She smirked, twirling a pen. "They haven't caught on yet. Keep them guessing." The drone's real purpose stayed locked in Leo's head, a head full of ideas the galaxy couldn't fathom. Humans didn't build big because they wanted to brag. They built smart because they had to survive. Coulter brooded on his ship, replaying the pirate fight in his mind. Those freighters moved too fast, hit too hard. He'd seen war fleets with less skill. His comm beeped, an update from his scouts. Earth's moon base was expanding, adding storage bays big enough for a fleet. The humans claimed it was for grain. Grain. His fist slammed the console. "They're mocking us," he muttered. But doubt gnawed at him. What if they weren't mocking? What if this was the plan all along? The council reconvened, tensions thick as asteroid dust. The Scree demanded answers, their wings buzzing furiously. "Your ships defy logic," one shrieked. Mia leaned forward, voice steady. "We're practical people. Waste not, want not." Leo nodded, holding up his mug. "And we really like coffee." Laughter rippled through the human delegation, but the aliens didn't join in. Coulter leaned closer, his shadow looming over Mia. "I'll find your secret, human. Count on it." She met his gaze, unflinching. "Good luck, Commander. We're an open book." On Earth, the stars twinkled above Terra's barn. She flipped a switch, and her hauler's shields hummed to life. Across the planet, 1,000 little tweaks clicked into place, quiet, clever, unstoppable. The galaxy thought humans were weak. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Galactic Alliance was on edge, and Coulter's patience was wearing thin. The Voran commander stormed into the council chamber, his gray scales gleaming under the artificial lights. Mia and Leo sat calmly at the human table, surrounded by datapads and coffee mugs. Coulter pointed a clawed finger at them. "Your freighters fought pirates like a fleet. Explain that." His voice boomed, shaking the air. Mia didn't blink. "We told you, Commander, they're built tough. Space is unpredictable." She slid a report across the table, titled Civilian Ship Durability Standards. It was packed with graphs about hull strength and fuel efficiency, all painfully boring. Coulter growled, shoving it aside. "You're hiding something. I'll prove it." On Earth, Terra was back in her barn, tinkering with her crop hauler. She'd added a new trick, a retractable cannon disguised as a water sprayer. For pests, she chuckled to herself, testing the aim. Across the planet, people like her kept their secrets quiet. A mechanic souped up a delivery van with thrusters. A kid rigged a toy drone to jam signals. Nobody bragged, they just worked, heads down, hands busy. The Alliance drones overhead saw farmers and traders, not soldiers. But the dots were there, waiting to connect. Coulter wasn't alone in his suspicions. The Scree, with their buzzing wings and clicking voices, huddled in their labs, sifting through data. Their top scientist, a wiry creature with compound eyes, tapped the screen. "Look at this, energy spikes from their weather stations. Too big for clouds." The numbers didn't lie, massive power surges, then nothing, all perfectly balanced. The Elitheri floated nearby, their glowing forms flickering. "Ask them," one hummed. The Scree sent a formal request. Mia's reply arrived fast, a 400-page, weather monitoring overview, with a note, "Happy to clarify in person." The scientist's antennae drooped. "They're mocking us." Leo got his chance to shine and Coulter demanded a live demo of Earth's military training. "Show me your strength," the Voran barked over a vidcall. Leo grinned, scratching his messy hair. "Sure thing. We've got an exercise tomorrow, open invite." The next day, Alliance ships hovered above Earth's orbit, watching. Human crews in clunky ships ran drills, basic maneuvers, textbook stuff. But the coordination was flawless. Ships dodged fake asteroids, rerouted in seconds, and landed without a hitch. Coulter squinted at the screen. Too smooth for amateurs. Leo's voice crackled through. "We practice a lot. Keeps us sharp." The after-action report was a tome, stats on every move, every mistake, even a chart of pilot snack preferences. Terra's moment came by surprise. A distress call blared from a stranded Elitheri ship, caught in a meteor shower near Earth. The Alliance fleet was too far, so Terra's hauler answered. She roared into space, shields up, dodging rocks like a dancer. Her water sprayer blasted debris aside, and a tow cable, meant for hay bales, hauled the ship to safety. The Elithiri crew pulsed with gratitude, but Coulter's scouts caught the feed. "That's no farmer," he roared at the council. Mia shrugged. "Terra's resourceful. We encourage that." Another datapad hit the table, emergency response training for civilians. Coulter's claws twitched. Resourceful didn't cover it. The Scree dug deeper, and what they found shook them. Earth schools weren't just for reading and math. Every kid learned logistics, moving supplies, planning routes, disguised as games. A dodgeball match taught evasion, a puzzle taught strategy. The scientist clicked furiously. "They're training everyone. From birth." The data piled up, millions of humans, all quietly skilled, all ready. The Elithiri pulsed brighter. "Is it military or culture?" they asked. The Scree had no answer. Meanwhile, those weather stations kept humming, their energy spikes growing. "It's not weather," the scientist buzzed. "It's something big." Coulter called an emergency meeting. The council chamber buzzed with tension, Scree wings, Elithiri hums, Voran growls. "They're a threat," Coulter said, slamming a fist. "Their civilians fight, their ships outmaneuver us, what's next?" Mia stood, voice steady. "We're not a threat. We're prepared." "Big difference." Leo nodded, sipping coffee. "Space is tough. We adapt." The Scree scientist leapt up, wings flapping. "Adapt? Your whole planet's a machine." Mia smiled faintly. "A machine that grows food, builds homes, and helps friends. Anything else is your imagination." Coulter leaned forward, tusks gleaming. "I don't trust imagination." On Earth, the web tightened. Terra's neighbors noticed her late-night tinkering but said nothing, they had their own projects. A factory worker tweaked a welder to cut steel like a laser. A nurse rigged a medkit with tech no hospital needed. It wasn't chaos, it was harmony, every piece fitting a puzzle no one saw whole. Mia knew it, though. She'd grown up playing those schoolyard games, learning to think 3 steps ahead. Leo knew it too, his weather drone now floated above his workshop, scanning for threats no one else saw. The Alliance debated late into the night. The Elithiri wanted peace, the Scree wanted proof, and Coulter wanted war. "They're hiding a fleet," he insisted. "Those stations, those ships, it's all a lie." Evidence was thin, but doubt was thick. The Scree scientist pulled up a map of Earth's energy grid. "Look, spikes match their civilian rescues. It's coordinated." The room went quiet. Mia's voice cut through. "Coordinated to help. You're welcome, by the way." The Elithiri pulsed approval, but Coulter's eyes burned. Help didn't feel like this. Leo tinkered in his workshop, grinning as his drone beeped. "They're close," he muttered. Mia's vidcall flickered on. "Too close?" she asked. He shrugged. "Not yet. They're still counting screws." She laughed, but her mind raced. The weather stations weren't just stations, they were power hubs, ready for something massive. Not today, not tomorrow, but when the time came. Humans didn't start fights. They finished them. Coulter stared at Earth's blue glow from his ship, replaying Terra's rescue. A farmer with a cannon. A hauler with shields. His scouts reported more, storage bays growing, trade ships multiplying. The humans claimed it was normal expansion. Normal. His comm beeped, a new report from the Scree. "Their kids play war games," it read. "Their culture is strategy." Coulter's fists clenched. Strategy wasn't peace. It was preparation. The council's debate raged on. The Scree demanded inspections, the Elithiri urged calm. Mia faced them all, unflinching. We're open books. Visit anytime. Coulter smirked. We will. He'd tear their book apart, page by page, until the truth spilled out. But deep down, a chill ran through him. What if the truth was bigger than he could handle? On Earth, Tara watched the stars, her hauler humming beside her. Across the planet, a million quiet geniuses worked, waited, and smiled. The galaxy thought it knew humans. It was about to learn. The Galactic Alliance had reached a breaking point. Coulter's voice thundered through the council chamber, his tusks gleaming under the harsh lights. They're a threat, we can't wait any longer. The Scree buzzed in agreement, their wings trembling, while the Elitheri pulsed with hesitation. Mia sat across from them, her face calm, her coffee cold. Leo leaned back beside her, twirling a wrench like it was a toy. A holoscreen flickered to life, showing a rogue fleet, dark, jagged ships crewed by exiles, bearing down on the Alliance's core worlds. Coulter jabbed a claw at Mia. You're small, military, prove it's not a lie. Help us, or we'll assume the worst. Mia tilted her head. We'll help. But don't expect miracles from a few old ships. On Earth, the call went out, not loud, not flashy, just a quiet signal rippling through farms, factories, and schools. Tara felt it in her barn, where her crop hauler sat ready. She flipped a switch, and the machine roared to life, shields glowing, cannon primed. Across the planet, others answered. A fisherman powered up his sonar boat, now bristling with hidden missiles. A teacher activated her classroom holoprojector, linking it to a planetary grid. No one panicked, humans didn't need orders. They'd been ready for years, every tweak and trick part of a plan too big to see. Coulter's fleet raced toward the rogue ships, expecting a brutal fight. The enemy outnumbered them, their spiked hulls spitting plasma. The Alliance braced for losses, until Earth's help arrived. A ragtag flotilla appeared, cargo haulers, fishing rigs, even a school shuttle. Coulter laughed over the comms. This is your aid. Mia's voice crackled back. It's what we've got. Good luck. The Vorin sneered, but then the humans moved. Tara's hauler darted forward, shields deflecting a plasma barrage. Her cannon, disguised as a sprayer, unloaded a volley that cracked an enemy hull. The fisherman's boat launched missiles, precise and deadly. The shuttle jammed enemy sensors, turning chaos into order. The Scree watched from their labs, screens flashing with data. Impossible, their scientist clicked. Those aren't civilian specks. The Elitheri pulsed brighter, all replacing doubt. Earth's ships weren't fast or shiny, but they danced through the battle, every move planned, every shot perfect. Leo's voice broke through the comms, casual as ever. Told you we practice. Coulter's smirk faded as a rogue cruiser exploded under Tara's fire. Her hauler spun, dodging debris, then towed a damaged Alliance ship to safety. The fisherman flanked a second enemy, missiles tearing through its engines. The school shuttle looped back, beaming coordinates to the fleet. It wasn't a fight, it was a symphony. On Earth, the weather stations hummed louder. Those power hubs Mia had kept quiet about flared to life, channeling energy to the orbiting bases. Storage bays slid open, revealing drones, not for weather, but war. They swarmed into space, small and silent, slicing through rogue shields with pinpoint lasers. The Scree scientists' wings froze. They've been building this, under our noses? The Elitheri hummed. Not building. Hiding. Every factory, every farm, every school had played a part. The fisherman's missiles came from a tool plant. Tara's cannon was forged in a repair shop. The drones? Assembled by kids in science clubs. Coulter fought beside the humans, his ship pounding the enemy line. He hated admitting it, but they were good, too good. A rogue dreadnought loomed, its cannons charging. Before he could react, Terra's hauler led a charge, freighters and drones swarming like bees. Shields flared, cannons roared, and the dreadnought buckled, splitting apart in a silent fireball. The Voron's jaw dropped. Mia's voice came through, steady as stone. "Need anything else, Commander?" Coulter didn't answer. He couldn't. The battle ended fast. The rogue fleet scattered, limping into the void, chased by human drones. The Alliance survived, but the Council chamber was silent when Coulter returned. Mia stood before them, Leo at her side, sipping coffee. The Scree scientist spoke first, voice trembling. "Your whole planet, it's a weapon." Mia shrugged. "It's a home. We just don't like losing it." Coulter stepped forward, his scales dull with exhaustion. "You hid this." "Why?" Leo grinned, twirling his wrench. "Didn't hide it. You just didn't look hard enough." The truth hit like a shockwave. Earth's military wasn't small, it was everywhere. Every farmer like Terra, every engineer like Leo, every kid playing dodgeball, they were the force. The ships, the drones, the stations weren't a fleet, they were a civilization. The Scree replayed the data, energy spikes timed with rescues, haulers built for war, kids trained to think. "It's not deception," an Illithri hummed. "It's genius." Coulter stared at Mia, seeing her for the first time, not a diplomat, but a strategist. "You could have ruled us," he said. She smiled faintly. "We don't want to rule. We want to live." On Earth, Terra parked her hauler, dusting off her hands. The stars shone bright, and she felt the hum of a job well done. Her neighbors nodded, quiet pride in their eyes. The fisherman cleaned his boat, missiles stowed away. The teacher shut down her projector, the grid offline. Life went back to normal, or what passed for it. Mia had been right, strength wasn't loud. It was smart, steady, and everywhere. Coulter faced the council, voice low. "We misjudged them." The Scree buzzed softly, recalculating everything. The Illithri pulsed agreement. "They're not weak. They're unstoppable." Mia stepped forward, hands empty, no data pads this time. "We're allies, not enemies. Let's keep it that way." Coulter met her gaze, then bowed, just a little. "Respect, not surrender." The chamber murmured approval. Humans had won, not with guns, but with minds. Leo tinkered in his workshop, the weather drone back on his desk. Mia leaned in the doorway. "Think they'll stay friendly?" she asked. He shrugged, flipping a switch. The drone hummed, scanning the stars. "Doesn't matter. We're ready either way." She nodded, her mind already spinning new plans. The galaxy thought it knew Earth now. It didn't, not yet. The Alliance rebuilt, leaning on human trade ships that doubled as rescuers, human tools that fixed more than machines. Coulter watched from his bridge, Earth's blue glow a constant in his view. He'd never trust them fully, but he'd never underestimate them again. The Scree rewrote their models, adding a note, "Humans defy prediction." The Illithri sang of the battle, a tale of quiet strength spreading across the stars. Terra gazed at the night sky, her hauler silent beside her. A kid ran by, tossing a ball, another game, another lesson. Earth turned, unassuming, unstoppable. The galaxy had seen a glimpse of humanity's truth, but the real secret stayed buried in every human heart. They didn't fight to win. They fought to endure. And that made them stronger than anyone could imagine.